Okay, recording in progress. So before you take off your shirt too quickly, I want to review. That's really good to hear, Sean, about the progress in terms of working with the consciousness of the body, because I know the more I get on in life, that it's all about the conversations we have before anything happens. So it's just music to my ears to hear that from you as well. I did have a chance to open up with Aubin, because in the last session where we were stretching the neck and the shoulders and saying, remember the words, I send this programs, patterns, and pain. Remember that? Back to the source.
Yep, I remember that one quite well, actually.
With the convulsing and the shaking free that Aubin was demonstrating last time, I thought, let's dive deeper. Let's give you a private session. And then in the session, we did a renegotiation. And I'm going to leave it to you now, Aubin, to say what you feel to say, because it was very similar but different as what Sean just shared. I don't know if you've told him already, but maybe not. I have a feeling.
Yeah, no, I haven't shared the details, but basically we spent not very long at all. In the span of an hour, he had renegotiated my entire emotional relationship with my CP to basically being a superpower instead of a burden. So it has a new name now. It's actually called core perception or core perceptivity or something like that. Same letters, completely different use. Basically came to the realization or the awareness for myself that if it weren't for the handicap, I wouldn't have the resolution that I need in order to do all the energy work that I do. In other words, this body is specific to the gifts that I have that are all in the ether. And so that's been a trip. And it's also been just, I don't know, just feeling better, working better. The whole thing. I did 3 miles in an hour and a half on Saturday, which is crazy fast for me. 30-minute miles is like off the chain, pretty much.
It's like full sprint. Okay.
Yeah, for the Spartan sprint. Yeah. And so that's been pretty crazy.
You were saying about right after the session as well that you had a box of
oh, that's right, the box of cookies. That one was a hilarious story. That was so funny. So I had a box delivered from my coworkers for my birthday. My birthday was Saturday, and then they delivered me a box of cookies that following Wednesday, Saturday the 15th. So it was like Wednesday the, I don't know, 18th, 19th, whatever day that was. And I'm in the middle of a meeting with a coworker when my phone starts going off because the guy couldn't get to my door. He only barely got in the front door and left the cookies on the floor, just right there in the corner. And I'm going like, anyone who has a key, any of my neighbors could have literally just walked in and grabbed that thing. So I'm in the middle of a meeting with another coworker when I'm getting this message from the ones who sent it that like, you need to go get this like now because it's, whatever. So I politely like let the other person know that, hey, I have to go grab this thing right now. And I kind of just was so absent-minded that I went out my door without my cane. I'm like, I gotta go grab this box of cookies, and I just went out the door. And I swear to God, it took me until I got to the elevator for my brain to catch up with like, what did I just do, right? So, but at this point, like it's too late. It's like, usually my psyche is like, okay, well, fuck it, let's build the parachute on the way down, right? We're moving, let's go. So I got all the way downstairs without any assistance, and then I picked up the box and literally walked it back from the first floor, back up the elevator, back to my door and to my room without dropping it or without tripping or falling over or any of that. So that was really rad. And it was only like, I could have probably left it down there a little longer. I could have calmed down. I could have whatever, but it was perfectly manifested for like what it was to show me, which was really neat that I could actually get there. And also that I could, because I'm not particularly good or hadn't been until this experience at carrying weight, and it was a fairly hefty amount of weight to carry. It felt like it anyway. It wasn't that heavy by any normal standards, but it was heavy enough for me. And so then to not fall over and not drop it, and also not freak out, like no fear of like, oh, we're just kind of walking back upstairs with a box of cookies like a normal person would. That was pretty rad.
So we're renegotiating the contracts. That was in the chapter I sent you with the book that I sent you, my book. In the book, I think it's a chapter on relationships. And there it says, I'm ready for a new relationship with you. And what you name the condition, you can do that with the guy you're working with too. And you name the condition. So I give you a new job title from now on. I give you the job title of, you're still CP, but now it's
Core perceptivity, I think. I like those words anyway.
exactly. So it has more something catchy to it. So in exchange, I can give you a feeling of, and then you can give me what back. That was the key. It wasn't just that I give you a new title. It's like I treat you with more what? More kindness and care. And what do you give me in return? What was the contract? The new contract?
I don't know if I remember my new contract. I'd have to go back into the notes and look.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter that it was something from the past, but look at it now. My new contract, if I treat you as a friend, right, as an ally.
Okay, yeah, if we do it right now, okay, yeah. If I treat you as a friend, you give me back more stability, more
Exactly.
more ability, more.
Well, there you go. And that's exactly what you experienced.
Yeah.
So now that's my homework for you, not later. I mean, now, homework between this breath and the next breath.
Right.
There's no pausing here, you know. Except
I get it. Yeah. Where are you going, Gary? I get it.
Okay. So now what we can do, what I'd like to do is let's review the strokes we've done, but we'll do them more and just to go over the motion rather than do them on both sides. And then we'll go further to take you on the journey throughout the entire body. Is that cool? Is that good with both of you?
Works for me, man. Is this where I get on the table?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
You're on your way.
We can make that happen.
Beautiful. So
I enjoy the openness of your system immensely.
what do you appreciate about the openness? What are you saying?
It's highly adaptive to the practitioner in the moment.
Yeah. That's my whole style. If I can shift things to fit to whatever you just mentioned about the guy you're working with, and then knowing that we dove deeper in that same way with Oben between our sessions, he didn't tell you, then we all can be included in this resetting of the self-talk, which I find more and more is what this work's all about. It includes the body because we have a body, but the beauty of the work is that it can be adapted. I've taught this for so many years. You can go through one stroke or one experience or one dream or one memory after another. So whatever you bring up, either one or both of you in the moment, it's important because I'll include everything that you think, say, do, dream about, and interact about in front of me anyway, as part of these sessions. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Cool. I need to be face down, yes?
Yeah, face down, yes.
Okay. Let's figure this
Gary,
out.
this is what I'm working. I don't know if you can, oh, it went dark.
Oh,
So it looks like his bones have been tied together with a rope or something.
With iron.
Yeah.
And with surgical steel.
What did he do? Did he fall off the Golden Gate Bridge or something?
He was snowboarding and rolled over the bindings on the snowboard.
oh, wait a minute. That's who I think it is.
That is.
Shit.
And we just in the pool this week, I got him walking again in water because he can't put official weight on the joint yet or anything
Right.
with the hardware, but we're moving where he's actually getting back into the movement pattern.
Wow.
And having to and the body is stopping in a lot of places or just not giving him.
Yeah.
And so taking it back and being like, what is your body saying?
Sure.
What is your body giving you? Listen.
Yeah.
This is what I hear your body saying. Please put your hand here, put your other hand here, and listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is the body telling you?
Exactly.
So
Beautiful.
He's
So-
good at listening when you get him to do it,
you have to slow him down.
but you have to slow him down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he goes very quickly, does he?
I happen to know this patient, Gary. He's a good friend of mine from some other work we've done together. And yeah, he tends to go very quickly.
Well, it's no wonder this accident happened. You know, you look at the wisdom of these things and you know this was a message for him to slow down.
Right. Yeah, no, I can see that.
When we were discussing the moment of injury,
Yeah.
he let me know that he could actually hear my voice as he was going down the mountain saying, "Slow down, this is gonna hurt."
Yeah.
I
And
believe
then-
it.
Slow down part.
Yeah.
Now taking off your shirt there, Aubin.
Oh, my. Oh, yes. Okay, sure. Can do. Maybe I can do it from
Want me
this
to do it?
position. Actually, kind of, yes. Can you just grab it and
Very happy
help
to
me with
address
that?
you.
Alright, I'm off balance is my problem, so you're just
Bring
gonna have
your arm down.
to, okay. Yeah, down.
Okay. Can you take both arms up and just lean on me?
Yeah, I can do that if that works.
It does. All the way up.
Shit. Ah,
I've got you.
I know,
Put both arms up. I've got you.
falling over.
I won't let you fall.
As usual. There we go.
All right.
There we go. That wasn't as hard as it needed to be. Sorry.
How did you two meet, by the way?
That
Through
same friend.
that same friend.
Aha. The plot thickens.
Yeah. Little bit.
Indeed. Now, there's one thing I forgot to say, which was when we were renegotiating your contract between you and CP, one of the insights I had was perhaps all of this contraction and this receiving of this kind of pain in your life comes from also a memory of what? What did we come up with? You realized it yourself in another life.
Yeah, the memory that I had of all the pain I had inflicted on other people.
Exactly. And since you could admit that, that is such a huge thing. Now you can go, hey, the whole Ho'oponopono, which we did last time.
Right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Say it out
Really
loud.
profound.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Thank you, and I love you.
Yeah, that's right. In whatever order, feels right to you. So that is partly now how we're renegotiating with the tissues. So starting with Sean facing you from your head down, Sean coming to the top of the table. One of the first strokes then, remember in the notes, which you'll see as well, is the one that goes with the thumb pads tracing their way up either side of the spine. And that's stroke step number one. As you slide up the spine, let me see what you're doing so I can see you a little closer. Let me open up. There we go. Yeah. So just use your thumbs to start, Sean, like this. With your thumbs, you can actually press your hands together so they're braced like this. And it's a nice strong support. So then you can ride your thumbs, pads, right up the spine here with this beautiful support with your fingers interlaced or whatever keeps your fingers together. See what I'm doing?
So you do this
Yeah,
this way?
Right. That's right.
I've wondered at the mechanics of that because my body resists it. So
You won't be able to do it unless you put your hands together because that's what makes the brace. That's what makes it so steady. Yeah, that's right. Sliding up very, very slowly, just with the thumbs as you picture waters falling down the spine, sunrise lifting up the front. Yeah, and you go as slow as possible. That stroke is basically to be done to feel, because you're so good at feeling, Sean, the conversations under the surface. And the thumbs are facing you. The thumb tips are facing you, Sean, coming up. Yeah, like that. Even slower than you can imagine. It just really gives you a chance to equilibrate with the rhythms of the person who's moving more slowly than your fingers with his breathing. So what I would do if I were you with any of these strokes, Sean, and Aubin, if you ever learn this work or you practice it, is to apply pressure while the person's exhaling, to exhale with them, applying pressure. and then they inhale, and you inhale yourself while releasing the pressure. So the pressure is only on the exhalation. Inhale, come up, and then the second third of the back press as in the exhalation. Inhale, come up, and then the third exhalation where the thumbs are tracing on either side of the scapula and over to the top of the spine of the scapula on the next exhale. So the slower you go, Sean, the better this goes. And it's applying pressure only on the exhalation. So it's more of a meditation for you. Is that making sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So the stretching is on the exhalation. So you're kind of meditating together. You're doing the movements together, stretching on the exhalation. And then often to my client, I will say the words exhale on the stretches in reverse so that we're really doing it together. Okay. So that's the first stroke. It's numbers 1, numbers 2, numbers 3 in the actual manual. You have the manual, you downloaded it, or you have a copy somewhere. Yeah. All right. All right. So the next strokes after those ones are with your elbows, and one on either side of the spine. Start with one side coming up. Okay. Yeah, on the inside. That's right. And you're running the length of the forearm up, applying pressure as he exhales. So it's 1/3 of the back. Inhale, come up together, slightly rising. Exhale together, pressing deeper, using your body weight, not your force. And then come up, and then for the final third, on the exhalation, go, yes, along the inside of the scapula, and then tracing the top of the spine of the scapula. And the words, that's good. Feel the shaking taking place. That's beautiful. That's exactly what we want. Beautiful touch you have there, Sean. So what are some of the words that go there with these strokes? The words are?
I apologize. I'm still in traffic getting here.
I'll do it. So here's what I recommend when you go up the body with the elbow or the forearm, that you do it in 3 breaths and 3 phrases. And it go like this. The first third of the body as you're exhaling is the person saying after you, I release holding in my back.
I release holding in my back.
Right. That's the first third. Then you come up a little bit and relax. And then the second third of the back, you're going deep, exhaling together with the pressure going deep. And the words are, I release holding in my back.
And then I release holding back.
Right. And then I release having to hold back. I remember that.
Exactly. That's the sequence. And I do it very specifically in that sequence because everybody can appreciate releasing holding in the back, because that's the tension, that keeps us feeling like we're not feeling supported. The back is the metaphor for support, physical support at the base of the spine, emotional support, financial support at the top of the spine. Okay. The second third, when I say or ask you to say, I release holding back, I put a clause on that one. Any ways that I'm ready. Because it's not appropriate to not hold back if someone's saying, jump into that frying pan, you're going to die. Of course you're going to hold back. So, hey, you don't always hold back, but in ways that I'm ready. I'm ready to let go of being small or pretending that I've got a disease that I can't be myself. I mean, my superpower. There we go, shaking free. You heard that one. That's right. And so then the third one, the top third of the stretch and the top third of the back is, yes, you do remember that, Aubin. And again, you said those words. Go ahead.
I release having to hold back.
And of course, that's said in the beauty of the phrase itself, because having to hold back, who wants to have to do anything, right? So that frees you in your consciousness. So that simple series of strokes, which is one stroke broken into 3 parts, you can do with that elbow going up. And then you can flip around, Sean, so that your left elbow does it facing up the body now. Same angle, but with your left elbow. Exactly. Starting at the bottom third first. Start at the bottom third of the back and keep going. Yeah. I release holding in my back. I release holding back in any ways that I'm ready.
Oh, that's right.
and really having to hold back. And it's very slow. You know, it's at least 3 full breaths. So the beauty about what I'm teaching you in this work is that you get to slow down your strokes. You don't focus so much on the strokes as the words that are carrying the strokes together. So you're much slower and you can go deeper because each stroke carries meaning. Am I making sense? Right. So you do remember this theorem, Sean, remember this, when you're working on one side of the back versus the other side of the back, any bilateral areas of the body, as a principle, which bilateral side do you work on first? You already answered this last time.
I work on the better side.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, it's what I call the when Harry met Sally principle, because then the other side will start, you know, if it had a voice, it might say, oh, I'll have what they're having, because it sees that it's safe to let go. That's right. So we do that with those series of strokes on both sides of the back, facing up towards the head, and then the other way. You don't have to do it on both sides now, but unless you want to, for balance, that's fine. And then we'll take you further.
Let's go further. I'll balance him out when we're done with the video call.
That's great. What about I didn't hear what the last sentence was.
I said, let's go further. I will balance him out once we are out.
Oh,
of the
great.
call.
Okay. Oh, I see. Excellent. Okay, if you can remember the stroke. So now we go to a new series of strokes that you, last time we did one more series of strokes on the sides, remember? But right today, we're going to do something on the, while he's laying on his stomach, as he is. Okay, so this next one is you're coming down the body to the legs. Come down the body to the legs. Yeah, walk down a little bit further and place your left hand there, Sean, on the base of his sacrum. Left hand on the sacrum, and the right hand underneath the left knee. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what you do. I basically say these words. You can say that after me, and then sometimes these words, you see them catching in the actual manual. Now, you know, I've evolved the manual, so I make up a little bit more slightly different ones as I'm teaching you now. These are the words I'd like you to say. Okay. The longer your exhale,
The longer your exhale,
the deeper your sound,
the deeper your sound,
the more we rotate
the more we rotate
round and round.
round and round.
So the action there is, as Aubin is exhaling, with your left hand and left elbow somewhat straight and locked, in other words, holding that in place, holding the sacrum in place. As Aubin exhales, you're rotating from the inside out, from the medial to the lateral, your Aubin's left knee. So as he's exhaling, you're lifting the knee up, and then pulling the knee, and there may be some stiffness there in the hip. I imagine there's a lot of stiffness there. So you're just moving in circles, first small circles, and then each exhale, larger circles as you pick the knee up towards the ceiling, even just a tiny bit. Is it as tight as it appears to be for me to feel? Sean, is it very tight there? It is, right? Yeah, I can feel it. It's not moving much at all. So that's fine. I mean, it's exactly what we're dealing with, is the rigidity that has become part of the muscles through all these things that have happened with PC, CP, and whatever else is going on there. You know, this is also an opportunity to look at the following phrase. Say these words out loud after me. So now I'm personalizing this, okay, you guys? I'm saying, I'm willing to transform. That would be for Aubin to say while you're making those circles. Go ahead.
I'm willing to transform
My rigidity
my rigidity
to fluidity.
to fluidity
Yeah. In my body,
in my body,
mind, and life.
mind, and life.
So that procedure is taking place as you, Sean, while Aubin is exhaling, pick up the knee with the right hand while the left hand is holding. Sometimes I even lock the elbow of the left hand so there's more room to really lift the leg and make a circle. That's right, exactly. And the longer the exhalation from Aubin and the deeper the sound, the more profound the release, like a letting go of tension. That's when those words make more sense. I transform rigidity to fluidity.
Come on. I believe in you.
And I think that's the most important thing, is to go at first exactly into belief rather than into trying to make it happen, because it's not going to happen right away. Aubin, how long have you been with this condition of this tightness in your hip? I won't call it anything else other than tightness in the hip at this stage. But how long has that been there?
All 40 years of my life, Gary.
Exactly. So we're looking at these patterns that have been with you forever. So the willingness, the statement, I'm willing to be transforming rigidity to fluidity, keep going. And as he exhales, you make larger circles, you see. As he exhales, you make larger circles each time while you keep making these statements. I transform rigidity to fluidity.
I transform rigidity into
Tightness to flexibility.
tightness to flexibility.
Stubbornness to more choice of positions to fully express myself through. And then we add something very silly, hip, hip, hurroo.
Hip, hip, hurroo.
That's right. Because if you're having lots of fun, sooner or later, someone's going to come over and ask to borrow your lawnmower. So what I'm saying is that if we add that silly hero, which for me is a short version of bringing the hero all the way through. So we have this series of conversations while you're literally, Sean, increasing the range of movement with the knee on the exhalation. Yeah.
Just in that, we got the knee to turn from here to here, and it went from this to this.
It's quite a significant shift.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've done this many years over many different muscle groups, and the muscle groups this works best on are the rotator joints in the hips and the shoulders. Okay, it worked very well with that. So you immobilize the joint itself with one arm, and then you, on the exhalations, each exhalation, you increase the range of movement each time he exhales. So that simple procedure of increasing the range of movement with longer exhales, I generally do 3 on the easier side and 5 on the tighter side. Is this the tighter side or the easier side?
Honestly, I don't know. I would call it the tighter side, but it's moving so well, I can't tell anymore.
Go to the other side now and see what the difference is. Be interesting. Did you find that fascinating, Sean, that you could do that in a very scientific way, that each time as you exhale, literally you're increasing the range of movement while producing that affirmation? So we're doing all of this simultaneously.
It's so curious. And so much of my work, I can't talk.
Right.
Or I haven't been in a place where I can engage vocally, somatically, simultaneously.
It's a clinic. It's a clinic with lots of people. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only in the festival environment or the blatantly pagan ritual space have I been allowed this vehicle.
Well, I find it a lot more powerful, to be honest with you. I haven't been able to be in clinical environments in decades.
Same. Well, I'm in med school now and going back into the clinical environment, and I'm finding new ways to weave this in.
What are you
And-
noticing? What are like subtly, like what we're doing right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very, very subtly. And my colleagues and even the doctors that I'm working with haven't commented on what I'm doing other than its effectiveness.
So specifically, what are you doing that's most effective that we can also translate to this training here today? So I can learn more your learning style. Tell me.
Being much more vocally present with
Okay.
the conversation with the body out loud,
Yeah.
so that the body is hearing,
Yeah.
and that they collectively are hearing.
Yes.
Because my practice prior to now has generally been to communicate non-verbally with the body.
Yes.
The body and I are having a non-verbal conversation, which for me is very auditory, nearly, mostly visual, and the body communicates really clearly with me.
Yeah.
And now engaging with this verbal component, there is a new level of partnership between myself and my patient as we engage in the work.
Mm-hmm.
There's a new, we from bicycle tires to big trucks in regards to like the speed, the efficiency, and the power of the work.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing here. We're combining the physical strokes with the breath, with the sound, with the visualization, and with the affirmations all at the same time. So if it's not through one sense, it's through another that these new patterns are encoded. That's exactly what we're doing. We're basically, what's the word? We're overriding.
The louder the sound.
Yeah, sounds of release though. There's different types of sounds. So it's very important. Hey, Sean and Alban, it's very important not just to make sounds. There's different types of sounds. So one type of sound keeps the tension in. Sounds like where you're fighting against. The other sound, and I put it in these sequence of these three different statements. I often say sighs of release, sounds of relief, sounds, particularly when I'm working in the base of the spine, of deepening. Ooh, like an HU, like a didgeridoo. Different than when you're working in the heart. When you're working in the area around the chest and heart, the sounds are more heartful, which is more of the heartful sounds, like HA or AH, ah or ha. That's horizontally going out like through the arms. But these sounds are to go down through the legs, sounds of ooh. So I release my stubbornness all the way through. And the gestures for you, Sean, in the movement, it's the opposite. It's not going inwards. It's always going from the inside out. Yes, exactly. That's right. That's the movement. And why are we doing that? Because the man has already been holding in tight. And anyone who's holding in, this is like the unraveling of the screws from the inside out. You see what I'm saying? So it's clockwise on the right side, got it? And counterclockwise on the left side. Is that making sense?
Always to the outside, I guess.
Yeah, so you're moving clockwise now. You can feel that movement with the knee. The knee is moving clockwise, yeah. Right, and as you take longer exhales, Alban, sounds of deepening now, like a didgeridoo. Notice how the sounds themselves will make it easier to increase the range of movement here. And then the words that follow, let's practice this together. I transform my rigidity to fluidity.
I transform my rigidity to fluidity.
Tightness to flexibility.
Tightness to flexibility.
Stubbornness to more choice of positions.
Stubbornness to more choice of positions.
To fully express myself through.
To fully express myself through.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hip, hooray!
Right, so that's bringing the here, row, 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 you're all the way through. So that's good, what you're doing there.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. So the next stroke is a bit more sophisticated. This next one that I'm going to show you. All right. Now this one is in the manual, steps number 4 and 5. So when you look over the video later, you'll be able to actually track this by following the strokes. I'm going through this manual one step at a time and numbering them, so it's very easy to follow. All right, so this one, here's what we're going to do. With you placing now your, let's see, your right elbow on that side of the body where you're already at, Sean, into Aubyn's right hip, okay? And take your left arm, Sean, and lift up Aubyn's ankle so you grab the ankle with your right hand, Sean. Yeah, exactly. And I would, yeah, that's all right. And now again, this is a very powerful stretch we're about to do. Now take your, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. You can hear me okay, Sean?
I can.
You can.
I was just having trouble filtering over background noise for a second.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what the noise is. So, okay. So now place your right hand on the ankle now, just on the ankle. That on the ankle itself, the heel ankle. Yeah, right. So that's going to be your fulcrum, okay? And now place your other cup of your left hand underneath the knee, just like you did a minute ago, underneath his knee. Yeah, exactly. So now it's the exact same movement, and it's similar words as Aubyn exhales, you pull the knee up. So you're pulling the knee up with your left hand lifting, and your right elbow is the fulcrum that stays in one spot. And it's the same movement now. It's clockwise movement from the inside out in that direction. The movement is taking place not with the heel, but with the knee. The heel of the hand and the elbow of your right hand stay stationary. And now the left hand is making those same clockwise movements. On his exhalations is when you increase the range of movement. So watching his exhalation with a sigh of relief and increasing towards 360-degree rotation, while we have Aubyn, you say these words after me. I release my yes buts.
I release my yes buts.
I turn them to yes ands.
I turn them to yes ands.
I release patterns of hesitation.
I release patterns of hesitation.
And you're continuing this movement, Sean, moving from the inside to the outside and increasing the range of movement as he takes longer exhalations. So you're deepening your pressure with your elbow and you're increasing your range of movement, yeah, with your left hand. I release patterns of hesitation.
I release patterns of hesitation.
Questioning.
Questioning.
Doubting.
Doubting.
Pulling back.
Pulling back.
Yes. I mobilize what I've been sitting on.
I mobilize what I've been sitting on.
And fuel my most passionate purpose here.
And fuel my most passionate purpose here.
Hip, hip, hurroo!
Hip, hip, hurroo! My hamstrings are too tight for that one.
So that was powerful. You can feel. Tell me what that was like for both the one who was receiving and the one who was administering. Each one of you, tell me what was that? What was that like?
I don't know. On my end, it was amazing to even see my leg move that much in that way. Like it was moving, but there was a definite like front of the leg hamstring stretch in that.
Yeah, and when we get on to working with your hamstrings in later strokes throughout this training, the hamstrings, as well as the muscles in the front of the belly, because those are soft tissue, are very much related. So releasing the hamstrings is related to holding on to control, not conscious control necessarily, but having to hold on to familiar, fixed positions, postures, points of view in your thinking, speaking, and action. So in a way, it's connected with the CP, but it's also connected with as Sean is running his hands along that vertical axis there, all these muscles that have been holding tight for so long. So the words that go along with that while we're stretching those longitudinal group of muscles are, I would say these words after me, imagining the hamstring stretching now. I release having to hold.
I release having to hold. I release having to hold
Onto my past familiar patterns.
Onto my past familiar patterns.
I let go of having to hold on to control.
I let go of having to hold on to control.
The more I trust what I deeply know,
The more I trust what I deeply know,
the more my thoughts, words, and actions,
the more my thoughts, words, and actions,
even my muscles,
even my muscles,
fully, freely flow.
fully, freely flow.
So I'm giving you, different lineages of lines and conversations that will work on that whole longitude. We're not going to all do the stretching on these muscles all at once, but you can implant the words anywhere, particularly with someone who's severely wounded, like your friend that you have in common. It's great to be able to have this dialogue first, and then the incentive, the desire to stretch the muscles will become easier, and you'll find he walks much more easily, and you release yourself of a lot of this pent-up tension more easily. All right, so let's do that on the other side, Sean, because this is a really good practice to do on both sides of the body. And it's not an easy stroke, but it's a very powerful stroke. Did you notice that how powerful it can be? Yeah.
I was appreciating the vast and rapid changes.
That's
because
right.
I'm feeling change happen throughout the system, not just the area where I'm touching.
Yes.
I'm feeling his pelvic floor release. I'm feeling his sacrum drop. I'm feeling his temporalis magnus. All his adductors on the inside of the leg are releasing. The hamstrings are changing character and quality. The front of the leg is fighting me initially, but then it just melts.
Exactly.
And once it melts, everything changes.
Beautiful, beautiful that you have this wisdom about the work. And look, the reason it's so easy in the way that we're teaching it here is that we're combining the stretching on the exhalations from your perspective, Sean, and from your perspective, Aubin, we're stretching, you're exhaling while he's stretching you. So you're already working in partnership. And that feeling of literally increasing the range of movement on each exhalation towards 360 degrees makes it easier to do what you just said, the release of the tightness in the pelvic floor, the anterior part of the front of the thigh, the hip joint itself, the area that radiates up through the back, and all the holding patterns that we now connect with on the exhalation. Let's say it again.
Say it again.
I'm going to say the words, and these are the words I often use when I'm putting now in this case, my left elbow into the hip, and my left hand is holding on to the heel of his left foot. My right cup of my right hand is lifting up, and as he exhales is when I'm leaning my body backwards and away from his body as he inhales and coming back into the body. So we're dancing together. Yeah, just like that. Exactly. And these are the words. The longer you exhale,
The longer you exhale,
the deeper your sound,
the deeper your sound,
the more we rotate.
The more you rotate.
Round and round.
round.
Good. So now as you continue that stretching, you want to keep your left elbow, Sean, more still, and the right hand more movement. That you want to keep what parasympathetic with the left, sympathetic with the right, with your movements. You know what I'm saying? Parasympathetic meaning stillness from your perspective, Sean. There we go. Pressing that left elbow deeper into the hip. And now you can actually lean your body back towards the wall, toward that corner, the top corner of the room. As he exhales, you're letting your whole body dance and move with him. There we go. Isn't that easier? When they're right, yeah, your left,
Easier.
so much easier, and you can go deeper. So it's less movement with your whole body, and it's for the stillness. Remember, Sean, with your left elbow, and the movement comes with the right cup of your right hand, and your body follows. So now the words that come out with you, Aubin, as Sean is stretching you, are these combination of words. Say it after me. I turn my yes buts to yes ands.
I turn my yes buts to yes ands.
I release patterns of hesitation,
I release patterns of hesitation,
questioning,
questioning,
doubting,
doubting,
pulling back
pulling back
in whatever ways I'm ready.
in whatever ways I'm ready.
I mobilize what I've been sitting on.
I mobilize what I've been sitting on.
I fuel my most passionate purpose here.
I feel my most passionate purpose here.
I mobilize my deep-seated wisdom.
I mobilize my deep-seated wisdom.
I've been sitting on for a long, long time.
I've been sitting on for the long, long.
I release my
Oh.
I release my deep-seated physical energy,
I release my deep-seated physical energy,
emotional energy,
emotional energy,
creative energy.
creative energy.
Good. So then relax your hands now, but don't let go fully of the legs. Now, here's what I want you to do. This is really elegant and beautiful to do at the end of this particular exercise. Let both legs go down now, Sean. Yeah, both legs go down. And now come over to both of his ankles as you pick up both of his ankles at the same time, but not yet. Wait for these words. So this is what I have. The next thing for Sean, for Aubin to say, as first now you're lifting up the both of the heels of his ankles at the same time, and you say these words, Aubin, after me. Okay. As first you lift up both of the ankles up together. Go ahead. Yep. A little higher, up higher, so they're almost perpendicular to the knees. Yep. Keep going. Yep. Yeah, on the side is easier. And then say very, very slowly, as you're very, very almost in slight slow motion now, placing the the feet on the ground, saying these words out loud, Aubin. I put my feet down with ease.
I put my feet down with ease.
What matters the most to me is.
Matters the most to me is.
So it's just one general emotion. And what I do, Aubin, and what I do, Sean, partly to be amusing, but also to be anchoring, is when he puts his feet down with ease, I'm putting my hands on his knees. So it rhymes with knees.
Right.
It's not always conscious, but I do that. You know, I put my feet down with ease. And you know, I can also say I move forward from my knees, because when we look at the body moving forward, the part of the body that does move forward first is the knees. So yeah, I put all these things together so we shift the view of how you see yourself in your body. I put my feet down with ease. I lead with my knees. There's lots of ways of saying the same thing. I lead with my knees.
I don't even like. Where's my left hamstring been my whole life? Like, what?
Is your left hamstring feeling tight?
No, that's the amazement was when he was doing it on the left side, the one that we just finished with. Like, it wasn't complaining at me at all.
So that's why does that surprise you?
Because I'm used to my hamstrings being ornery with me, Gary.
Okay. So now let's enter a new conversation here. The hamstrings don't like being talked about like this. They're going to stand up for themselves right now, and they're going to say, "Whoa! Wait a minute, Aubin. We support you. We don't like being talked about like this. You got to talk about us in a nicer way. We're happy to relax. See, under Sean's touch, we can relax. It's time you treat us differently. Your new normally with us is." So go ahead. Let's hear you have that conversation. Go ahead.
My new normal with my hamstrings is that they're light and easy and free and relaxed. I love it.
Okay, there's something that's needed here though, in terms of your intimacy with your own body. What did you just do? You talked in what person? First, second, or third person just now? Right.
I talked in third person.
Exactly. So it's almost as though you talked about your body as though you're somewhere else, right? We want you to talk in first person and second person as though you were there present with your body. So, hey, hamstrings, I'm so happy that you could relax. We are celebrating a new relationship together. Your new normally with me is you can be relaxed and I don't have to be high strung with my hamstrings. We can trust what we deeply know, a deeper flow. So let's hear your version of those words. I'm just giving you all kinds of suggestions. Go ahead.
Hello, hamstrings.
You're
get
talking
be-
to them directly. Yeah, go ahead. I
you
now
get
address you.
Relaxed and loose. I now address you and let you set you free. Let you free. Let you be. Let you be me.
And in return, because it's always a dual contract, what would the hamstrings say in appreciation? Because you're now shifting, instead of putting yourself down, they're always tight, blah, blah, blah. That's an old self talking. The hamstrings say, hey, thank you for.
Hey, thank you for treating us nicely. Thank you for being kind. Thank you for.
Great. We're happy to be relaxed as
We're
you.
happy to let
Yes.
go.
And we will relax even more as you trust your inner wisdom flowing through your wisdom, warmth, and wonder. Here's the next stroke that I do these days, Sean. This isn't in the notes. I've been using this of late over the last 10, 15 years, 20 years. I don't know. I've been doing this 50 years, so I can't keep track. The next stretch I like to do before working on another side of the body is go down to one of the ankles as you face up the body, facing him from the below. Yeah, that's right. And then watch what I'm doing with my hands. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing. I'm holding his ankle with this hand and the shin with the other hand, basically. And I'm shaking the leg out, but mostly it's just with, actually I can put both hands on the foot. Yeah, and just shake it free, shake it free. And then I have him say, while you're shaking free, I release my wisdom,
my wisdom,
my warmth, a renewed sense of wonder.
a renewed sense of wonder.
All the way through. So you're
All
shaking
the
it
way
really vigorously, Sean. Watch, like this. Like,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
you can
wow,
do it.
okay.
Yeah, you can do it even more. This will free it at the
Oh.
socket. It feels so good, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, yeah. Wow.
Releasing my wisdom, my warmth, a renewed sense of wonder.
My wisdom, my warmth, and a renewed sense of wonder.
So it feels so good to say, you know, I put those 3 W's together. Free my warmth, my wisdom, my wonder. So we do that on one leg, we do that on the other leg. And it's a great thing to do before working on a different side of the body. This is very powerful to do these strokes here. Now, in later work, in later sessions, I want to show you strokes for working on the hamstrings, but sometimes if there is the tightness there and you're used to being tight there, I would show some strokes now that would be on the buttocks and the hamstrings. Would you like to learn those today, or we can do those a different day, those particular ones? Since you're already in the right position for that, I'm thinking it might be a good time to do that. What do you think?
I'm fine with it if he is. He's the one driving.
So keep your underwear on, but take your outer pants off for that.
All right, then. Well, we're going to have to grab the underwear because it's going to come down with the pants. So
Okay, here you go.
let me do that while you
You've got
pull.
those, I've got these.
All right. There we go.
Excellent. So here is an extension of what you did. Since there has been such tightness in that area of the body, rather than quickly going on to the other areas of the body, the right leg is easier than the left generally, right? There's less tension. So we'll go over to that side. And here's what I want you to do, Sean, with your left elbow. Okay. Now, Let's see if I can find this in the notes as well. This is work in the lower back and the lower body, part of the body. What I want you to do here is, yes, okay. So this gets up in my strokes here. This looks like we're getting to some of the strokes that are a bit more advanced, but that's all right. You can learn this out of sequence. So take your left elbow, Sean, and face it as you pull up his underwear so that you can expose his buttocks on his right side. Yeah. Okay. So with your left elbow doing what I'm doing with my left elbow, Sean, you're going to make 3 lines. One in the middle of his buttocks, from the round of the buttocks with the pointed part of the elbow down to the base of the buttocks, and the exhalation. So this again is moving towards you, towards your own hips, Sean, moving down from, yeah, exactly, from the middle and down really slowly, and you're going right on the ischium, basically, on the ischial tuberosity. You're riding that edge as he's exhaling, and you may shake free. And again, this is again the same words, okay? I turn my yes buts to yes ands. Go ahead.
My yes butt to yes and.
Yep. And now take the same left elbow and move it right on the inside where the crease is. You're not going into the crack. That's not it at all. But you're riding the edge of the ischial tuberosity on the medial aspect now, on the inside element. And it's okay. I turn patterns of rigidity to fluidity.
I turn patterns of rigidity to fluidity.
And you do that on the length of the exhalation. So you're doing it all together. I turn my, yeah,
to fluidity.
Yeah, tightness to flexibility.
Tightness to flexibility.
So that's that second stroke. You got it, Sean? The second stroke is the medial. The third stroke is the lateral, closer to you on the outer edge. You got it. So it's you're doing it and you're breaking it into thirds, and it's the same thing. And then now we'll do this one because if the movement's going down. The more I trust, what I deeply know, the more my thoughts, words, actions, fully, freely flow. So you see what you're doing, Auburn? You're making words and statements out of the pictures that Sean is doing with his stretching the muscles. You're making words out of the movement. You see what we're doing? We're creating a choreography of communication together. And Sean, do those strokes make sense? They're very strong. They're very powerful.
It's a relationship with whatever muscle that is that he's digging his elbow into.
That's right. And sometimes at that stage, I'll take my left elbow, Sean, similar to what you're doing with your fingers, and I'll place it right in the crease there. And I'll move my elbow and kind of dig it in on the exhalation. On the exhalations, I dig it in. Inhale, I release. Exhale, I go deeper. So you're moving in clockwise movements from the inside out. There we go. Clockwise from the inside out, from the left to the up, to the right, to the down, to the left, to the up, to the right, to the down. So clockwise. And you're digging in there on the exhalation to help free that area even more, mobilizing what had been stored, stuck, stiff, stubborn. You see, as I see it, you guys, as I see it, I call this group of muscles, it's the buttocks, right? It's called the buttocks. I call these the yes but muscles. Because if we release the yes buts, the patterns of holding back, say these words out loud, everybody. I move forward with ease.
I move forward with ease.
In the direction that does me most please.
In the direction that does me most please.
You see what we're doing? So we're freeing patterns of holding back that start in this area, or we're mobilizing patterns of moving forward that start in this area. So this is one of the deepest areas we can work to free the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual energies. Once bound, I like to say these words, once bound, say that, once bound.
Once bound.
Now bound to release.
Now bound to release.
So it has a bit of a contrast in it. So this is great. The next stretch, Sean, is we're going up the hamstrings, and we're going up the hamstrings with the other arm, with your left arm, the other arm, the other arm, the other arm. And you're facing up the body, switch your body around, flip it around 180. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Now you're going up the body. Wait for me. I'm going to show you the stroke first. So imagine the hamstrings here in front of me, and I'm going to do the same 3 strokes in the same sequence of the middle, I'm going right up the body like this, riding right up the middle of the hamstrings. The second stroke is medial in the inside, towards the inside of his thigh on the exhalations. Make 3 exhalations is good, then you can take your time, just like you did at the back at the beginning. 3 exhalations for 1 full stroke slows you down. And then the last one is the lateral side, 3 exhalations for stretching that way. So let's start in the middle. It's more with this one is more with your forearm than your elbow. Yeah, exactly. So you get more of a blunt edge. Exactly. Go ahead. And on the exhalations, hamstrings with the forearm going up the arm. And again, these are the words that go with this. I release having to hold on to control.
I release having to hold on to control.
Fixed positions.
Fixed positions.
Stubborn postures.
Stubborn postures.
Rigid points of view.
Rigid points of view.
I let these go.
I let these go.
And the long O on go while you're exhaling, and the administration at the end of the stroke. Good. Now go inside. Yes, Sean, a little bit more inside, and your pressure is coming from the inside. Same 3 strokes, same 3 breaths, and wait for him to speak or to let out a sound of release as you apply more pressure. So, the more I share how much I care.
The more I share how much I care.
My hamstrings become less hamstrung.
My hamstrings become less hamstrung.
I transform rigidity to fluidity.
I transform rigidity to fluidity.
Good. And then you go to the outside, the lateral area with the same notes. Your elbow is still on his inside, but you'll find as you're, isn't that easier that way? Start out closer to the knee, closer down. Yeah, there we are, good. And now slightly riding up that edge very slowly. 1 breath for a third, the second breath, the second third breath, the third of that muscle. All right. The more I trust what I deeply know,
The more I trust what I deeply know,
the more my thoughts, words, actions, intentions fully freely flow. Fully freely flow. Yeah, and then long exhale with the sound of To guide that movement, Sean, to get a better precision in that movement, I'm often taking my other hand and I'm holding this elbow in place. I'm guiding the movement by putting extra pressure on with my one hand on the other hand. So it guides the movement and it allows me to have deeper pressure. Go ahead. Yeah, notice the difference on any of those strokes, how much easier it is when you have that other hand holding it in place. What difference does that make?
It's more stable, much greater control.
Exactly. Beautiful. And you can really go deep inside where the hamstrings attach to the muscles in the gluteus minimus and maximus there. You can go quite deep in that area, and very slowly though. And then at the end, you can use the elbow to go across from the inside to the outside to help free those areas of the connection. So it's very powerful, these strokes. Okay, so look at the difference between the right side and the left side. Let's go to the left side now, because the right side is about stepping out into the world. The left side is about trusting what you stand on, our own intuition. You with me?
Yep.
Great. Yeah, the angle's great. You got the camera perfectly. I see everything you're doing. It's perfect. Yeah, that's right. Good angle. That's right. Beautiful. All
Well,
right, how you two, how is this learning for you, by the way? What's this like? You look pretty excited.
Yes. The amount of change and change state and the speed with which it is coming is just remarkable to me. It's astounding. I've done some pretty freaky things on my own, and I'm blown away with you. So I'm super excited about the jazz. Let's keep going.
What are you blown away with, Sean? I'm curious.
Normally, when working with this frequency of patient who have had patterns of holding that have been in place for so long,
That's right.
and that are so ferociously guarded.
That's right.
Normally, the change state takes a lot more work to get to.
Well, that's
and
because let me just give you now the essence of this method, which you're getting it in this practice. You're going, oh my God, how are you able to induce such a swift shift that sustains? Because it's not just a swift shift, you'll find it actually sustains. And this took me 4 years to find this out. 4 years between when I was 50 to 50, 52, 3, 52, 54, I created a air-conditioned telephone booth in my place in Bali, where I was basically writing my PhD thesis between midnight and dawn every morning. I had an air-conditioned chamber because otherwise my computer would be destroyed by the humidity. And I was typing up these notes. And the notes, what I was typing was basically what I'm saying to you right here, that basically it took me 4 years to come to this. The reason it's easy and swift is so simple, because we're combining the exhalation with the lengthening of the strokes. At the exact same time, the words are being spoken for the length of time that the stroke is being administered, with the exhalation and sound coming out at the same time. That is what creates the ease in letting go. Look, the lungs, let's all do this together. We're breathing in, pressure fills the lungs. We're breathing out. It's like we can do this like a balloon. When we're breathing out, the lungs let go of pressure. So when the lungs let go of pressure, then the body relaxes. Duh. So when the body is relaxing, that's the time that the consciousness is more susceptible to programming rather than holding in tight. It's on the exhalation that we can receive fresh information. So I'm implanting very consciously the words in affirmation, in rhyme, at the same time as the length of the exhalation and the stroke, with the colors of exhaling, pushing out dark, faded, heavy colors, breathing in light, bright colors of delight. So that simple process, I'll say it again, of breath, say that with me, breath.
Breath.
Sound.
Sound.
Visualization.
Visualization.
Stretching.
Stretching.
And rhyme.
And rhyme.
At the same time.
At the same time.
Is what makes this process so swift and sustainable. Breath, sound, visualization, stretching, rhyme. That's it. That's it.
That's what makes this process so swift and sublime, Gary. Come on.
Yes, easy for you to say. One more time. So it's got the beauty of what we're doing here is it's so simple. Breathing out, stretching, visualizing, affirmations in rhyme. That's what makes the process so efficient and swift and sustainable. Does it make more sense now what we're doing? That's the science underneath the method. That's why it's so quick.
It's mind-blowing.
Good. That's what we want. I'm loving how easy this is to teach. You know, we're what, 15,000 miles away from each other, or somewhere 10,000 kilometers away. That's what it is. We're 10,000 kilometers away. That's right. And it's really cool. In some ways, it's even easier than just standing right next to you because I can see every stroke. It's so cool. So the same thing on this side. We start off with the buttocks portion, not the hamstrings, but the buttocks portion, with the elbow, the tip of the elbow coming down the body with your right elbow pointing and going down. So yeah, like coming down with the elbow. Center, medial, lateral. Center, medial, lateral. Yep, the center and the exhalation. You might say something on the exhalation like, safe for me to let go.
Safe for me to let go.
And then the next stroke's on the inside. Right, riding the edge of the sits bone.
Safe for me to let go.
Yeah. And now we'll add another sequence of words that follow the same movement, but a slightly different wisdom. It's safe for me to let go and follow through.
It's safe for me to let go and follow through.
What for me is sacred, dear, and true.
What for me is sacred, dear, and true.
So you're adding a nuance of nuance to the stretches. And the third stretch, I go further, longer, deeper.
I go further, longer, deeper.
And I once allowed and knew.
And I once allowed and knew.
More room for me to let go.
More room for me to let go.
More room for me to follow through.
More room for me to follow through.
Hip, hip, hurroo!
Hip, hip, hurroo!
Okay, good. So we're making it silly because that little punctuation and rhyme helps accentuate the follow through. Okay, now we're going to go up from the hamstrings up towards the sacrum with that same elbow, but we're mainly using now the forearm, particularly the part underneath the elbow where you can apply more pressure, starting again in the center, then the medial, and then the lateral. You see, this is very scientific. We're doing this exactly the same. We're doing it in thirds. Almost every stroke, I'm breaking up with you into thirds so that you can slow down the movements with 3 breaths for 1/3, 2nd third, and 3rd third. So it makes it so much easier to practice. So starting now, the left side, remember, is more about intuition. So we're going to slightly shift the wording. The right side is more I follow through. The left side is more about trusting vulnerability as strength. So watch, as your elbow is in a different position here, Sean. You're not facing up. You're facing, watch me, it's this way with your elbow, sideways. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, then you get more of the broad, blunt stroke, right? Yeah. Coming up. It's not the length of the elbow, but the broad. So, and you're doing it in 3 strokes with his exhalation. Saying these words out loud after me, Aubin, and you can do it, Sean, at the same time as we exhale. Sharing my caring is my strength.
Sharing my caring is my strength.
And my hamstrings relax.
And my hamstrings relax.
Good. Now we repeat as we go now to the medial area of the hamstring. And when this is more vulnerable area, so let's add words about vulnerability that match the stroke. You see the wisdom of what we're doing. My vulnerability is my strength.
My vulnerability is my strength.
And these tissues become fluid.
And these tissues become fluid.
Flexibility.
Flexibility.
Flexible and flowing.
And flow.
I will say that again because I messed up the words. My vulnerability is my strength.
My vulnerability is my strength.
And these tissues become fluid, flexible, and flowing.
And these tissues become fluid, flexible, and flowing.
And then we go to the outside, the lateral area of the hamstring, Sean, and we go for a slightly different sequence of words. We'll do this one. Sharing my humanity is my strength.
Sharing my humanity is my strength.
The more I trust what I deeply know,
The more I trust what I deeply know,
the more these muscles freely flow.
The more these muscles freely flow.
Beautiful. And so you see, we're adding sequences of words that match the person in their own unique area where they're thematically challenged or stretched. Are you okay laying there a little bit longer?
Oh yeah,
You are? Okay.
I'll be
All right.
fine.
So now placing your right elbow in the right hip joint and using your left hand on your left hand on your right fist to manage the movement. And you can dig deep and move from the inside out, counterclockwise now on the left side, the other way, the other direction. So you're moving, there you go, from the inside out. Feel the difference? It's always from the inside out. On the left side facing up, counterclockwise. On the right side, it's less movement with your elbow, Sean. It's more depth of penetration going right into the joint as you increase the range of movement from the inside of the joint. The movement it's an inside job. It's not an externalizing movement. It's deep inside the joint. There you go. Feel the difference. There we go. So now saying these words out loud with me, everybody. I mobilize.
I mobilize.
What I've been sitting on.
What I've been sitting on.
A long, long time.
Long time.
To fuel my most passionate purpose here.
My most passionate purpose here.
Right. Hip, hip, hurroo.
Hip, hip, hurroo.
I bring my fullest creativity all the way through.
I bring my fullest creativity all the way through.
So you see, I'm making it up as I go along. And I've said these things so many thousands of times that at this stage, I'm just cutting and pasting these constellations of conversations that are all in the same areas. You just choose. So how is this process helpful for you? You receiving and you administering. Let's just check in with each other, because I realize we're going at quite a fast rate here, and we're also diving deep into these constellations of conversations. Tell me what's working for you in this process of learning in this way. Of either one of you, speak at a time first. Sean?
The rapid download.
Yeah.
The experience for me is more like I'm walking through the library and you're just handing me a book, and the book is immediately soaking into my skin and my body is hearing it.
Yeah.
It's taking my brain and my mind a little bit to catch up with my body. My body is receiving the information.
Yes.
And it's moving very quickly through it. And my brain is mostly sitting back a little bit agog at just how quickly and how effective. And like reading through the information, my brain, my inner skeptic is alive and well as I read through it. And then as we engage in the practice, there is very much a sensation of connecting with you that is physical.
Yes.
And it is more like you are moving in my body, like you are liquid, warm liquid moving in my body, gently correcting my posture and my mechanics. And I'm feeling a heightened level of connectivity with Aubyn's physicality.
Yes.
And a heightened empathetic awareness as you are speaking.
Excellent. Now, this is really powerful, because as you are learning in this way and giving me this feedback, one of the things that I'm aware of, because I've been doing this for 50 years, probably 50,000 times, is I am in your body. And I feel every movement in your body, and I'm sinking into my body, and I'm aware of the thoughts and words and conversations that I would have if I'm moving in that way. Because I've done these strokes so many thousands of times. It's like, no, a little bit more depth of keep one hand parasympathetic while the other is moving in stillness, and from stillness to sympathetic. So you're learning in a very quick way in this way by combining the movement patterns and the way that you can be more efficient with the way that you can both deliver words and strokes together. Yeah.
I'm really wanting to do before and after pictures, because the difference in the structure and the position is borderline unbelievable.
Give me a specific instance of where you're pointing out on the body now. Show me.
So this hip was almost 3 inches higher than this hip. The front of the ischium was not touching the table. And now the full front of his abdomen is laying completely flat on the table. Both legs were very spirally and twisted, as what I'm accustomed to with my CP patients. And really looking at his body from the back now, if I did not notice the surgical scars, it would take a second to recognize this body as being not normal.
Exactly. So this is what happens in every session when I'm working with people who are shaking free, as you are, Aubin, right now. It's beautiful to trust that level of depth of release. Shaking free, shaking free, shaking free. Old habits, old rigidities. I set them free. I let you go. I send you back to the source where you came. Bring you
I
through
think
my
your body
wisdom.
is exceptional. But yes, we can call it normal if that makes your washing machine happy. I think this body is exceptional.
I would agree with that.
This is great news. This is great news to see just how swiftly together we're able to create rapid shifts that are occurring that will be long lasting. And it's happening scientifically. If we look at very carefully, we're doing something very specifically here. I want to again emphasize the philosophy underneath the method. There's the method underneath the madness. We are doing two things. One, we are stretching the side that's easier first. We're stretching the side that's tighter second. And ideally, when you practice this method with, you have other CP clients as well, you said, and other people, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you work with people who are more exaggerated and more subtle variations of the same conditions, you'll notice this, that as you work with the easier side first, let's say for 3 stretches, or 3 rotations, 3 exhalations, and the tighter side second, I often suggest that the tighter side done second is done for more repetitions, like 5 of them. That's exactly what balances it out. To do more on the tighter side second is exactly what is preceding this that you've just discovered. Oh my God, it's balanced on both sides. How did that happen so swiftly? So that's what we're doing. Yeah, that's the science underneath it. And that's why it's working so simply, is because I've done this so many hundreds, thousands of times that it's so simple to teach it.
See, every time you say science, my brain hears magic. So, okay.
Oh,
Science, it is magic. Yeah, beautiful. Now, Aubin, from your point of view, because we're going very deep today, way beyond the first session that we've done was focused mostly on the breathing and the lengthening of the exhalation and the long muscles up and down the spine and the longitudes, and then the horizontal axis, you remember, around the chest and heart. And that was about opening up your abilities as you exhale to let go more, on the inhale to receive more, and then on the exhalation to follow through more. On the second session today, we're focusing more on the lower body, from the sacrum down through the hips and through the base of the spine. And we've connected the upper body work that you can feel with your left hand, Sean, and the lower body work you can feel with your right hand, Sean. Now, in a continuation of the conversation, the chronic held in 2 patterns, as we have learned that in the body, are often those in the lower body, and the more acute patterns that can shift more dramatically and dynamically are often in the upper body. So today we've connected the acute and the chronic, the upper and the lower, in a dance that now we can go so much further. You see, the exhalations are connected not only with letting go, but also with following through. So today we've shifted your perception, your self-talk, Aubin, about how far you can go, not only in receiving, but in releasing and following through. So this is going to be very powerful to notice what shifts for you between now, and we'll have a chance to do a one-on-one session too, I'm sure, between now and the time that Sean returns as well, to take you further into both the upper and lower. So from your point of view, Aubin, what have you noticed today that's been remarkable or that stood out in contrast to or in continuation from where we started last time, 2-3 weeks ago?
I mean, the easiest way to say it is I feel like a sponge, Gary. My system, my energy system, my nervous system has always been highly adaptable. And I've done a lot of like Feldenkrais and a lot of different modalities and methodologies and things that have, had profound impact on my ability to move. But I am like completely flat. This is the flattest I've ever laid on a table in my life.
Oh my God.
Like,
We are creating some amazing shit together, and it's the interplay. It's not me, it's not Sean, it's not Aubin, but it's the interplay of one, our intentionality, two, our breathing together. Often when I teach this, I prefer that you, the client, you, the practitioner, and me, the guide, are all exhaling at the same time, inhaling at the same time. So the strokes, yes, as you're moving your gestures, the gestures, the strokes, the exhalation, the administration of words are all done simultaneously, which augments the power of what we're doing 10, 15, 20, 100 times, because we're all in synchrony. So it's an active dynamic meditation with all of our bodies thinking in at once. You following me? This is profound.
Yep.
Very cool. Very
Yep.
cool. Now, there's a couple of more strokes I want to show you today before we complete for today, because it still is working with the lower body, and it's still working with ways that we can connect the lower and the upper body. The next stroke I would do at this stage with with your right hand, Sean, place your right hand up like this, like I'm doing, with my fingers of my second, that's my index, and my middle finger splayed, and I want to have the flat of my second joint be that I can ride exactly that, the second joint there, from the top of his spine, yep, slowly, the opposite of what you did with your thumbs at the very first stroke, the beginning of our whole session, because slowly riding down and saying these words out loud together. As you remember, you're exhaling as you apply the pressure together. You're inhaling, you're releasing the pressure. So a third of the time for each breath, exhaling a third on the first exhalation down the body. Inhale, pick up. Exhale, go down third, further. Pick up, and exhale, going a third further. Even deeper stroke, even deeper using your pressure. You can use a lot more pressure with your locked elbow. With your locked elbow, you can go deeper, really applying that pressure on the exhalations only. There you go. And Aubin, your words are, I let go and follow through. There you go.
I let go and follow through.
What for me is sacred, dear, and true.
What for me is sacred, dear, and true.
Further, longer, deeper
Further, longer, deeper
than I once allowed and knew.
than I once allowed and knew.
And now you're at the hip, 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 Peru.
Hip, hip, Peru.
Just that part for that. So that's the first stroke. Just that. That's all. Just that one stroke. Yeah, that you did. That's fine. That's fine. You did that fine. And It's great. He's shaking free. When he's shaking free, when a client's shaking free like that, I look at it as a communication. I look at everything as a communication. So that if it had a sound, and the sound had a voice to it. I remember last time you weren't there with us, Sean, but when I asked you, Aubin, what would be the words that would be connected to that release? And you said, let me out of here. Remember that? Let me out of here. And I thought that was profound, because it's like something in you has been bound up in your consciousness. So we're freeing the sage and mage out of the cage. That's right, turning a new page, a new stage for yourself and all humanity. Okay, the next stroke is exactly where you are, Sean, with your one hand. Put both hands there at the sacrum, one on one side, facing up the body, facing up his body. Yep. And so the heels of both of your hands are on the area where the sacrum is. And now turn to me for a minute so you can see what I'm about to do. Look what I'm doing. Imagining my fingers as your hands are, imagining your hand right at the top of the sacrum. You know, it's a triangular bone. And before you do any stretches, yeah, similar to that, but you're focusing on the heels of your hands there. Watch me first. Just watch me. Turn around. So So as he exhales, as Aubin exhales, I'm applying the pressure with the heels of one hand after another. So from Aubin's perspective, it feels like it's a tilting of the entire joint. You're moving in circles, but mainly you're pressing down on one exhalation and then down with the other heel of the hand on the next exhalation. So it feels like a circular motion to Aubin, but really it's a lateral motion with one hand at a time applying great deep pressure down towards the heels of his feet. So you're pressing down with the heels of your hands, and they're not moving much. They're just pressing down together like this, right there. Exactly. That's right. And so now these words follow as Aubin, you say these words while you're feeling that pressure. More choice of positions for me.
More choice of positions for me.
Yeah. More points of view.
More points of view.
More room for me.
More room for me.
To perceive from more angles.
To perceive from more angles.
And fully express myself.
And fully express myself.
As I always wanted to.
As I always wanted to.
Hip, hip, hooray!
Hip, hip, hooray!
So you're bringing the hero all the way through. So that's one stroke of Sean. Another stroke you can do is with your soft fist. And it's a similar stroke, but you can apply more pressure. Similarly, yeah, but you're riding just above the bone. You're not on the bone. You're just above it, just above that. Yeah, exactly, right there, just above it. That's right. That's right. That's right. And the movement is again like this, and similar conversation as you stretch there. That's lower. It's much lower. It's just where the bone meets the muscle, where the third lumbar and the psoas muscles are underneath, right under there, deeper. Right. Yeah. And again, more room for me, more choice of positions, more points of view to fully express myself all the way through. Excellent. Now, sometimes, Sean, I also use my thumbs. Watch what I'm doing now, because I'll show you this later as we proceed in our training. Sometimes I'll even use my thumb pads, and as he exhales, because on the exhalation is when the whole body is releasing pressure, I'm pressing my thumb pads on the psoas muscles from that angle, and I'm pressing deep inside. And I follow the following with these words. Go like that. Yeah, with your thumb pads, digging deep, right in that muscle group here. Yep, in that same muscle group here on either side.
Okay. And alternating?
With your thumb pads going deep inside on the exhalation, maybe with a bit of lubrication. You can do better with some lubrication with this.
Always time for lube.
I didn't hear what you said. Sorry.
Always time for lube.
Here we go. And so it's with your thumbs now. And these are the words that go with the thumbs. You're not on the outside, you're going deep. You're going just right on the edge of where the ischium and the psoas muscles meet. You're going into the psoas muscles, saying these words together. Deep, slow on the exhale, say these words together. More room for me to let go.
More room for me to let go.
More room for me to follow through.
More room for me to follow through.
Further, longer, deeper.
Further, longer, deeper.
With my breath.
With my breath.
My sound.
My sound.
And my intention.
And my intention.
Than I once allowed and knew.
And I once allowed and knew.
Good. So that's really powerful. You can also do one more variation, the last stroke I'll teach you today, with your elbows. I do sometimes the same because I can apply even more massive pressure with my elbows, doing the same thing in the same angles, and it helps the whole pelvic base in there tilt, because I can really make some major shifts with my elbows because I'm strong and I use my body weight to do the same administering of the same type of stroke and with the same conversations. I go further, longer, deeper, yeah, with my breath, sounds, and intentions. Yeah, through the pelvic floor, I bring my strongest, most heartfelt intentions all the way through.
All the way through.
Further than I ever allowed and knew.
am I either allowed or do?
I follow through
I follow through.
what is sacred, dear, and true.
What is sacred, dear, and true?
Good. So let's stop on that stroke for today. That's a massive, I feel like this is a Reader's Digest course I'm giving you here. Massive amount of information in a short amount of time. How is this working for you both?
After our last session, you were present with me for the next 3 nights dreaming.
Okay.
So when I was integrating in my dream time and practicing, and I've been taking what we are doing and weaving it into the rest of my practice as my patients make space.
Beautiful.
Whenever I ask for space and they're like, yeah, go ahead. And so we practice.
Yeah.
And
No,
flow
this is
through with the
great.
patients.
You'll find that you'll even start dreaming about some of these affirmations and things. I sent you the audio on my affirmations as well. So be sure to listen to that because they will start coming in your consciousness. You'll find what I do is before I do a stroke, I'm actually reading the words. I'm actually reading a script, but I'm not saying it. I just see it like, oh my God, these are the words. And I'm watching them appear in front of my face. I'm going, okay, I'm going to say these words while I'm making the stroke. So after a while, the guidance is so profound. Practice with each other after this session. When would you like our next session, you guys?
I gotta look at my calendar this time so I don't fuck this up.
Do that.
God,
And how is this for you, Aubin, taking it further, deeper today? I'm going to turn off the recording so I can send you this later. There we go.
I feel amazing, Gary. I would not have guessed I could move this well. Jesus.
That's so cool. This is such good timing.